All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome in. So what I ended up doing was I put together a little NFL draft New York Jets report card where I went through and I graded each draft selection that the Jets made based off of team need, based off of where we drafted the prospect, right? Did we reach on a guy? Did we luck out and have a guy fall to us? What have you? And then third and, most importantly, team fit. How do these prospects fit into the schemes that the Jets run under Adam Gase for offense and then, of course, Greg Williams for defense? So not only do we have the draft grades, but I also put together a little current NFL pro comparison for each one of the prospects, except for one, the punter at the end, just because I don't know the punter position at all. I don't know what to look for. I don't know, strengths and weaknesses. I know the, idea of punter and whatnot, but I couldn't compare him to another just because I simply don't know the position. But that was obviously our round six, one of our, 6th round picks. But anyway, current NFL pro comparison for each one of these guys. And a quick little disclaimer before I hop right into it. I know I didn't make the video right after the draft, but these are the style of videos that they take a lot of time. You want to watch a lot of film. You want to have a really solid understanding of how each player that the Jets picked played, right? Who are the guys that we're bringing in? I just preferred to spend a lot of time watching film, especially on the later round guys, to have a really good understanding and to formulate an idea and an opinion on a lot of these different guys, right? Especially the guys I didn't know. So, and for the guys I did know, it's always good to kind of go back and rewatch some tape. So that's what I did. Here we go. First round, pick 11 overall, Mekhi Becton, left tackle from Louisville. I obviously really like the pick, and I'm giving it a B, right? I'm giving it a B. Obviously, we're attacking a major position of need, the O-line, left tackle specifically. Beachum won't be back. It was obvious. Sam Darnold got pressured like crazy last year, okay? And it wasn't even just Darnold. It was Luke Falk that got pressured. It was Trevor Siemian got hurt on a hit by Myles Garrett. We could not throw the football last year because our quarterbacks were under duress all the time. And I mean, even when you look at the run game, you could even say it was worse for the run game. Le'Veon Bell. Everybody's saying like Le'Veon Bell is horrible and he sucks and he's so washed up now. I mean, if you watch the Jets games last year, Le'Veon Bell had nowhere to run. There was no holes at all. So we addressed a major need with the left tackle position. You look at Mekhi Becton, 6'7", coming out of Louisville. I love the pick. Now, the reason why I didn't give it an A+ or an A or an A-, or even a B+ was there are some concerns with how Becton's going to translate to the next level as far as a pass blocker. Everybody knows he's a dominant run blocker, and he obviously has the height and weight to kind of go along with that. But as far as a pro, passing in the blocking in the pass game, there are some question marks. There are some question marks regarding Becton compared to the other three tackles, Wirfs, Wills, and Thomas, that he was going to be kind of the boom or bust style of prospect. And we also have the failed drug test. Now, I'm not so sure how I feel about the drug test. It depends what it's for. But that's kind of why I give it a B. I think he's a great system fit for the Adam Gase offense. I think it's a major position of need. Obviously, a huge upside. But I think there are some red flags. There are still some question marks with Becton on how he's going to officially translate to the next level, right? The pro game. My NFL pro comparison for him is Trent Brown of the Oakland Raiders, former Patriot. A guy who, again, really dominant in the run game, just maulers, just love hitting people and making contact, and both have similar size, height and weight. I think they kind of mirror each other in a lot of different ways. So, and again, I'm not necessarily saying Mekhi Becton is Trent Brown. I'm just saying both of the guys have same strengths. Both of the guys have same weaknesses. They kind of mirror each other's skill sets. So, B for Mekhi Becton. Moving on, round 2, pick 59, we have Denzel Mims, wide receiver out of Baylor. I give this move, call me bias, an A+. I mean, you look at team need. The New York Jets wide receiver room is horrible. Jamison Crowder, awesome slot receiver, slot guy, but I mean, you lose your best receiver in free agency, Robbie Anderson, and then our next best guy is probably Brashad Perryman. I mean, who is a cast off with the Baltimore Ravens, a cast off with the Cleveland Browns. Had a solid half season with the Buccaneers, but we can't count on that guy to come in and just dominate cornerbacks all of a sudden. We can't do that. You can't just assume that of fans. That's kind of irresponsible. So I look at that position. We're horrible at it. Now we get a guy out of Baylor who is an extremely electrifying player, a guy who's extremely athletic, really hard worker off the field. I look at Denzel Mims, I give this an A+. I mean, especially considering we got him in the second round. There were people, including myself, that had this guy going in the bottom of the first round to teams like Green Bay, even Philadelphia, right? Baltimore. There was a lot of hype surrounding Denzel Mims. There's a lot of guys and a lot of teams that liked him. We sat in the second round. It's looking like he's going to be on the board. We go back. We trade back. We trade back in the second round, sliding back to pick 59. We trade up from the 40s to the 50s, and we still managed to get Denzel Mims. If we would have stayed pat where we were and took Mims, I would have been ecstatic. But we trade back. We get another pick. I was pumped up, right? I was pumped up. I love the pick. He's going to instantly help out this Adam Gase offense. Instantly help out Darnold. Instantly take pressure off of Le'Veon Bell. I'm not saying he's going to come in and be Julio, but what I am saying is he's coming in at a major position of need. I think he's a great fit for the offense, right, where he can just get the football, or where we can get the football out of Darnold's hands quickly and let this guy make plays. Really tough guy to bring down the open field. Possesses size, possesses great speed, really good speed. Reminds me a ton of DJ Chark at LSU, current Jacksonville Jaguars second-round pick, interestingly enough. Similar size, similar speed, right? Both are blazers downfield, and both are guys that are tough to kind of bring down. And I'm more so talking about DJ Chark as a prospect as opposed to an NFL pro, but they remind me of each other, right? DJ Chark and, I was kind of on the fence too, like Allen Robinson a little bit at Penn State, not the Bears and Jaguar Allen Robinson, more the Penn State A-Rob. But I ended up with DJ Chark because I feel like they're going to kind of transition to the NFL game the same way, where I feel like Allen Robinson really grabbed the bull by the horns and became a number one instantly with Jacksonville. So DJ Chark is the pro guy. Next up, round 3, pick 68, Ashton Davis, safety out of Cal. This is a pick where I felt like it was criticized heavily because first instant reaction, it's what position does the guy play? Safety, we have Jamal Adams, best in the league. We have Marcus May, really solid safety. We don't need safety, wasted pick. That's not the case here with Ashton Davis. I love this pick. I'm giving it an A. As far as team need, not really too big of a need as of right now. Remember, as of right now. But next offseason, when we're looking to pay a Jamal Adams a really, really big deal, I mean, Joe Douglas has made it clear he wants to keep Jamal Adams for the long run. Adams has made it clear, has said, kind of cryptically and whatnot. Like, there's Adams, the whole Adams thing kind of goes both ways. He kind of says one thing and does another, but at the end of the day, I think a deal's going to get done. I think an extension's going to get done, making Jamal Adams a New York Jet for the, at the end of this contract, probably another 5 or 6 seasons. I think Davis is going to be a replacement for Marcus May. I look at Marcus May and, he's a solid player, but I think Davis is more of a free safety who can play. He could come down and play nickel. I look at Marcus May, who's 27 years old. He's going to be 28 next year. Same draft class as Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams is a lot younger. He has more production. He's the better overall player with the higher upside. I look at Marcus May, who had a injury-riddled college career. He missed a huge chunk of time his sophomore season in the NFL. I feel as though Joe Douglas doesn't want to pay Marcus May long-term. He's going to say, okay, we're going to go and extend Jamal Adams, and we're going to replace Marcus May with a Ashton Davis. I think it was kind of forward thinking on Joe Douglas's end. I think Greg Williams knows that Marcus May isn't the 100% perfect fit for his defense at the free safety position. And I feel like Ashton Davis is. He's a downhill kind of thumper guy, but he's also a ball hawk in the downfield. To me, I give this move an A. He is Micah Hyde. Davis has Micah Hyde written all over him, right? A thumping type of safety, free safety, who could come down and play nickel. He could come down and play corner. He plays downhill in the run game, so he kind of flies sideline to sideline. And by the way, this was supposed to be a second-round player, like a mid to high second-round player, draftee. We got him in the 3rd round. That's crazy, crazy value. So perfect team fit. Will be a team need eventually, maybe next year, because I don't think we're bringing May back. I thought it was great forward thinking. And again, perfect fit. Perfect fit for the Greg Williams defense. I think he's going to love him. Micah Hyde written all over him. Swiss Army knife, just kind of can plug him in at nickel, can plug him in at free safety. bring him in on third downs and whatnot. I don't know if he's going to get a ton of playing time year 1, but year 2, year 3, I think he's really going to come into his own and be a really good player. So moving on, pick 79, Jabari Zuniga, defensive end, UF. This was probably my least favorite move of the draft, not so much based off of the player, but kind of where we picked him. When I looked at Zuniga before the draft, and being from Florida, I've watched a lot of Gators, Seminoles, and Hurricanes games, and FAU, a little bit of USF, a little bit of UCF. Zuniga was always a guy that I thought was interesting, reminded me a ton of Ja'Kai Polite. That's not his pro comparison, but a guy who would have fantastic games, amazing games, but then he'd have games where it's like, is he playing? Is Zuniga even playing? I give this move I was bouncing back and forth between a D+ and a C-. He reminds me a lot of Vic Beasley. That's his pro comparison. I just don't know with a player that up and down, that hot and cold, that it's worth taking him in the 3rd round. I just felt as though he's more of like a 5th to 6th round guy. So I think we reached a little bit. I love the player Zuniga. I think he could be really good. But I think because he's coming in as a 3rd round guy, that the pressure is going to be on, where I felt as though he's more of a late round developmental type of guy where you can kind of put him on the practice squad and let him develop, as opposed to, bringing him in and trying to have him immediately become like a team, one of the team's best pass rushers. So team need, great. I think he's more of a fit for the 4-3 defense that Greg Williams traditionally likes to run. So that was one of the interesting things I kind of found throughout free agency and the draft, was it's starting to look like he's trying to morph this defense, because our personnel currently is built for the 3-4 that we ran under Rex Ryan, we ran under Todd Bowles. So he's starting to morph this thing into a, what he wants to do. This is his first real draft class where he's calling the shots on defense, with, of course, Joe Douglas at the helm. So I give this move, like I said, a D+ C-. Not so much about the player, but where we kind of picked him. Pro comparison, Vic Beasley. Moving on. Round 4, pick 120 overall. Lamichael Kieran. I'm going to give this move a C. I felt as though we definitely missed out on, my favorite running back, Cam Akers, in the draft. We missed out on the Jonathan Taylors of the world, the DeAndre Swifts, all those different guys. I felt like this was a little bit of a reach for Piran. Reminds me a ton of Austin Eckler. Again, I'm not saying he is Austin Eckler, but I'm saying they have similar kind of skill sets. I think he's going to be a nice change of pace back for a Le'Veon Bell, a guy who is going to come in. He's not going to be afraid to get hit. He's going to want to embrace the contact a little bit, but a guy who's kind of not so much of a shifty guy. He kind of follows his blocks, to say the least. Again, I think a C. I don't think it's an amazing pick, but it's not a bad pick by any means. So it's spot on, average. Next up. Round 4, pick 125. 5 picks later than the first one, James Morgan, quarterback out of FIU. Probably one of the most controversial draft picks that the Jets made in the entire class. There's a lot of people that hated the pick. There's a lot of people that loved the pick. I'm going to give this pick a C+. I think I want to tip my cap to Joe Douglas, because he is forward-thinking. He's looking at James Morgan, and he's saying, he's a smart kid with a above-average arm who's a big body, who's going to come in and work. He's going to be a really solid fit in the Gase system. I'm looking at James Morgan to be the backup here, because if Sam Darnold goes down, he got hurt year 1, he got mono year 2. The O-line is still not a finished product. There's a very good chance that Darnold will probably, he could get hurt again, or he could miss some more time. When Darnold did not play last season, we were a complete wreck. And I'm not saying like it's because Darnold's that amazing or anything like that, because he's not some amazing top 5 quarterback. But it's the backup quarterback last year was just horrible. The backup quarterback play last year was horrible, and we did not address it. I thought we did with bringing in Simeon, but it looked like that wasn't a good fit. And Luke Falk definitely wasn't a good fit. And David Fales, I don't really have a lot of faith in him. I look at Joe Douglas and saying, you know what? We're about to, the Patriots are about to pick. Let's go get the guy that has had a really good combine, who's been shooting up draft boards. He has an above average arm. He's more of a pocket passer, but he's a big dude who can, withstand hits. He can stand in the pocket. Reminds me a ton of Nick Foles, right? So I definitely want to commend Joe Douglas for having the intuition and the forward-thinking skills to say, you know what? We can't just put all of our eggs in one basket with Darnold when he's shown he hasn't played a full season as of right now. And when, our starters go down, we are a bad team. So I do appreciate that kind of thinking from Joe Douglas. Again, a little high, Not the end of the world, though. I mean, if he's our backup quarterback, if he's our Kellen Clemens for the next 10 years, that's fantastic. What a move by Joe Douglas. What a move. But, of course, hasn't played a single down, so we shall see. Moving on. Final round 4 pick 129, Cameron Clark, guard tackle out of Charlotte. C plus for me. I liked Clark a lot and I didn't know anything about Clark before we picked him. When we did end up selecting him, I was, like, okay, cool. We're attacking a need and whatnot. But when I really watched him at Charlotte, I don't know, honestly, how he's going to translate to the next level. But here's the thing. Again, we've made this clear. The Jets' offensive line, not good. Not good at all. So he's going to come in, really hard worker. Again, team captain, by the way. This is kind of like a locker room pick, a guy who I feel like will be a practice squad style of player. End of round 4, okay, C+, we are attacking a major position of need with the room to get better. I do think he will get better, standing in 6'4", I think 310-ish. Reminds me a ton of Nate Chandler from Carolina. A dude who, both guys are good in the run game, not amazing in the run game, but can get a lot better in the pass game. Both guys are still young and ascending players. Both guys have similar height and weight. I feel as though neither are complete finished products and still have a long ways to go to become their fullest, to reach their fullest potential. But Chandler's a guy from Carolina who, it was kind of obvious to me after watching Clark that, these guys really, really are similar players. So I give the draft pick a C+. But again, it's a position of need. Right, so he's going to be in there battling with guys like Alex Lewis, battling with guys like Connor McGovern and Greg Van Roten, right? Seasoned veterans that have been around the game for a long, long time. I think it's gonna do well, or the transition is going to be pretty good for Clark. I just don't see him as a day 1 starter for the Jets, if that makes sense. Next up, round 5, pick 158, cornerback out of Virginia, Bryce Hall. This is probably one of the moves that the Jets fans were most excited about, because Hall's name was kind of blasted all over the screen left and right, like third round pick. Before the season, or before his major injury on his ankle last season, he was considered a high 2nd round pick, late 1st round pick. This is a dude who has nice size, okay? Can play in zone, can play in man. A guy who is physical, not afraid to get physical, but struggles in the run game. I give this move an A-, right? An A-. The only, I loved it. Obviously, it's a fantastic pick. The injury does scare me because it is cornerback. He is a fast cornerback, right? So he does have the speed skills to go out and make plays. But whenever you have to get like a surgery and you miss an extended period of time with anything, with your feet or your ankles, but more so your ankles, it kind of scares me at the cornerback position. I think he's going to come back fine, but we don't really know. I think there's a reason why teams were, a lot of people were saying this is a round 3 dude, but he went in round 5. There might be something off here. And remember, we had the whole virus thing going around, so we couldn't go and work out. I think there's a little bit more to the story here, but at face value, we're attacking a major position of need. He's going to come in, and he does fit the Greg Williams defense. He definitely does do that, especially in the zone looks. But A- for me. His pro comparison, Shaquille Griffin from Seattle, but more so Shaquille Griffin coming out of UCF, not like the current one, like Griffin today. I think Griffin today is way more polished than he was coming out of UCF. But obviously, Bryce Hall is a major athlete. I feel like the only difference between the two is Griffin was really good against the run game, really setting the edge, kind of getting through his blocks, past his blocks, and wrapping up and doing well in the run game, where I feel like that's kind of where Bryce Hall struggles at big time. But pretty much every other box, they're identical. So next pick, round 6, 198, Brandon Main, punter, Texas A&M, okay? No pro comparison, like I said, but I'm going to give this move an A+. Fantastic pick. And I know there's going to be people that say, oh, you picked a punter, what a wasted pick. You could have signed him as an undrafted guy. I commend Joe Douglas once again for saying, Locke Edwards is not coming back. We have nobody at the punter position. Let's go get the best one in college football that averaged damn near 50 yards per punt. I love this move, okay? I love this move big time. Hopefully we got our answer at punter, okay? A+. We don't even have a player at the position. So obviously it's a position of need, and we're getting a guy in round 6 who's the best at his position. I mean, and by the way, it's 191, so late in this draft. A plus for me, no pro comparison. I just don't know what I'm looking for punters. I mean, I get the gist of it. You got to punt the ball far, hang time, and all that stuff. But as far as like release off the foot and all that stuff, I don't really know what I'm talking about or looking for at all. Next up, pick 218. Didn't have it. Originally, it was ours, but we flipped it for Quincey Wilson. So I'm going to give this move an A, even though Quincey Wilson is not really a draft pick. But I'm just kind of grading the move as a whole. I'm going to give this move an A. Quincey Wilson was one of my favorite players coming out a couple years ago out of UF. Really interesting player coming out of UF because he had his counterpart on the other side, Jalen Tabor, who hasn't really panned out. And kind of the thing was, Tabor was the number 1 corner at UF a lot of the time, right? He was the guy that NFL teams coveted. But then when you actually dove into the tape, people started realizing the reason why Tabor's making all these plays is because nobody's throwing to Quincey Wilson. This guy's locking dudes up. And he comes to the Colts, and, he doesn't really have the best career overall, but he flashed, he started, he made a lot of plays. This is a dude who's still young enough. He has great size, 6'1", that can make an impact and can get a lot better, right? So I think he's a great fit for the Greg Williams defense, but I like him as a player more so. So I'm going to give this move an A. So, and by the way, we're trading away pick 218 for a pretty much a guaranteed starter. Sign me up for that. A former 2nd-round pick a couple years ago. I love it. So that's the overall report card here. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I know it was a longer video, 21 minutes. So yeah, thanks so much for sticking around. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.